Bonjour, hello, how you doing? Now, welcome to this week's homebrew weekday. Yeah, I know it's a bit late, fellas, but I've just started work this week and I've been very busy coming up to scratch and reading all of the terms and conditions and induction courses and all of those things. And yeah, it's been a mad week. Thank you very much, by the way, for your good wishes for me starting the new job. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Right. I went to Tasda's the other day. While I was at work, just down the road I got an Asda's. It's not a massive one, it's a small one. But they've got 4 beers for a £5. Yeah, 4 beers for a £5. And Asda's own brand, extra special main brace IPA, so I picked that up. I've also picked up their Golden Ale, the premium Golden Ale. Also picked up the Shepherd Neame Master Brew Kentish Ale. And of course, for my good friends in the broadcast, guess what I've got? I've got a bottle of Ghost Ship. Now, the reason I got the bottle of Ghost Ship is because, as you know, I've been brewing my own Ghost Ship clone. And I need a bottle of Ghost Ship to do a comparison with. Now, I was going to do a YouTube video of it, but what I'll probably do is I'll wait until the broadcast this weekend and we'll do it in the broadcast. And, you know, we'll have a bit of a chat about how it turns out. So, look forward to that. I might stick it on here, I don't know. Depends how tomorrow goes. I'm recording this on Thursday. I might be able to stick it up on Thursday night. If not, it'll be up Friday. See how the rest of the week goes and how busy I am. And if I've got time on Saturday, maybe I'll do a quick video. But we'll see. I can't promise anything, fellas. If not, you'll just have to join in the cast. Now, I have been brewing. This week, past week, not this week, obviously, I've been at work. Last week, I put a brew on, and it's in the fermentation fridge over there. It's basically a 2-can Cooper's mock-up with some additions and things. It's pimping out to the nth degree. It's an extra special beer. I'm going to go through it. I've recorded some footage. The only thing that's missing from the footage is me after day 3 putting in some more hops, but I'll talk to you at the end about that after you see what I've been doing. Alright, so enjoy this. Hopefully, you know, it'll give you some ideas. If not, don't worry about it. See you in a minute. Right, so for the purpose of this experiment, I'm going to be using a tin of Cooper's Australian Pale Ale, a tin of Cooper's Real Ale, 2 packets of yeast that come from the top of the tins, and 1 I just had lying around because I figure you can never use too much of this Cooper's yeast. It's always a good idea to just throw in a little bit extra if you can, and I had a sachet lying around anyway. Right, so first things first, as usual, bucket there, my fermentation vessel. It's full of water and it's got some bleach in there as well. So I'm going to cleanse that out, leave that for about 15-20 minutes or so, make sure it's all clean. Anything else I'm going to use, I'll also chuck in there. So I'm going to chuck a siphon in there, I'm going to chuck a paddle in there, I'm going to chuck a tin opener in there. Anything else that I need to use, scissors to open up the sachet of yeast, all that kind of jazz, chuck it in there. Right, so now we're on the stove. I'm boiling up 2 litres of water. Just to the boil, I'm going to stick 300 grams of crystal malt into a bag, which I've got over here, sitting in some Star San. Make sure it's all sanitised. Obviously I'll squeeze that, give it a quick rinse before I chuck it into the pan. And then once the grains are in there, in the bag, we'll put the lid on it, take it off the stove, and we'll leave it for about an hour. And here's our water coming to the boil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off, put that over there, take our bag of crystal malt, chuck that in there, and then I'll put a lid on it and we'll come back in an hour. Right, so as you can see, I've taken the grains out and they're over here, and they're just going to basically be draining off into a bowl underneath, and whatever drains into there
I'll just put back in the bowl. But we need to bring this back up to temperature, so I've just stuck it on. There we go. Bring it up to the bowl, and then what we'll be doing is we'll be chucking in 25 grams of Cascade, and we're going to leave that to steep for 30 minutes. That should do. Here we are then. It's coming to the bowl. We'll just chuck 25 grams of Cascade in. Give it a little bit of a stir around, and then take it off the stove and leave it for about half an hour. So while that's steeping, the Cascade that is, little tip for you. Here's our emptied bucket, okay? There's the lid. So put the lid upside down on the top of the bucket, spray it with Star San, put your implements on there as well. Again, the scissors, we're going to use that to open the yeast. Tin opener, we're going to use that to open the tins, surprisingly. And the stirring spoon, we're going to use to mix it all up once it's in there. Spray it with Star San, job done. So, here we are then. 2 cans sitting in hot water just to loosen the liquid inside those cans a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'll also stick some water on the boil. I won't take it from the kettle. Little tip, folks, don't take it directly from the kettle, because chances are if you've had the kettle for a little while, then you're going to get limescale and all that shit in the kettle, and you don't want that in the beer. So boil up some water on the stove in a pan, it's much better. Right, you probably can't see that very well, but down in the bottom of the fermenting vessel there, we've got roughly 1 kilo of sugar, there or thereabouts. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to strain off the contents of the pan, so that'll have the grains in it, the juice from the grains, the goodness from the grains, and also the Cascade hops. So I'll strain that into there, and then we'll put in our 2 cans. Right, so here are our 2 cans that have been poured into the fermenting vessel. I've just filled this one up with boiling water that I did on the stove. We don't really want to use water from the kettle. Whoops! That alarm means that the steeping is done of the hops, and we'll be chucking that in next with these 2 cans. Here we are then. There we go. Look. So we've got the 2 cans in there. We've got the sugar, and we've got some hot water from the cans as well. And here is our steeped grains and Cascade. So we'll just pour that in there, drain that in. Lovely jubbly. The sieve will obviously catch most of the hops, so we won't get too much in the fermenting vessel. But you know, it doesn't matter if we get some in the fermenting vessel anyway, because we're going to be chucking in some hops after 3 days anyway. So yeah, it's all good. So here we are then. There's my finished product. I say it's finished, it's not finished yet, but you know what I mean. Topped up with water to 23 litres, 5 gallons, and it's in the fridge, the temperature controlled beer fridge. At the moment it's 23.5, it needs to come down to about 18 according to our instructions, so we'll just leave it in there until it gets to about 18, and then we'll pitch the yeast. Here we are then, fellas. I'm just looking at the gravity of the beer. It's about 106, 106.5, 106.6, something like that. So all that remains to be done is to chuck the yeast in, and I've got 3 sachets of yeast here, so I'm just going to chuck that in, and then we'll chuck it into our fermentation chamber, and we're all done. Right touch. Nice one. Alright, hopefully you found some of that useful. If not, don't worry about it. I know I don't do a lot of recording of when I do brews. Obviously I don't record every single one, that would be stupid. But this one is going to be an extra strong vintage ale. Nothing complicated about it at all, really. In fact, I followed a recipe off of Cooper's website because I couldn't really be bothered to come up with something on my own. Just for once, because the last few brews I've done have all been made up from scratch and a Roy recipe.
I just wanted to use a couple of these cans up because they were getting close to their date. So I thought we'd knock up this extra strong vintage ale. So it's an Australian Pale Ale kit, Cooper's Real Ale kit, some dextrose, in other words sugar, right? 300 grams of crystal malt, 25 grams Cascade, 25 grams of Citra, and 25 grams of Chinook. Now the Citra and the Chinook were dry hop, I think. Alright, but you'll be able to see in the video whatever hop I threw in first. The other two are dry hop, alright, just for, you know, sort of aroma and profile and that kind of jazz. So that's it then, really. All for me for this week, fellas. It's all I could squeeze in. Sorry, but it's been a mad week, as you can imagine. First week in the new job. Yeah, it's going well, so thumbs up from me. Hopefully it will turn out all right. And yeah, it would be good to finally get back on track. As for the house move, things are still ticking along. Lots of documents and things to sign and insurance to sort out and all sorts of jazz. But it would seem that it's ticking along now, so hopefully before Christmas we'll be on the move. But thanks for watching, thanks for your thumbs up and your good wishes. Again, really appreciate it. I'll see you in the cast on Saturday night, fellas. Same time, same place. You know the score. And either way, we'll be drinking some beer, because I haven't had any this week. In fact, it's been quite nice this week, because you know, when I've been at home, obviously not working, you get a bit bored, and so you snack and you drink a beer. Obviously I've not been able to do that because I've had to drive work and drive home every day. So I've not been drinking this week. So it will be literally me drinking just over the weekend now, having a little drink on a Saturday night during the cast. So I probably won't get through as many beers now, or be brewing as often. But you know, we'll go with the flow. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one. Ta-da!